Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Cologne Podcast. I'm Myke.
I'm Ryan.
And today, Ryan, well, first of all, we're best friends. We're sniffing fragrances, blah, blah, blah. We're on a journey. Today, we're joined by one of the most prolific fragrance enthusiasts on the planet. They had the...
That's a load of shit.
He co-hosted the largest fragrance podcast of all time. He has the fastest growing YouTube channel about fragrances, Frags for Riches. His name is Steve. Thank you for joining us, Steve. Welcome to the show.
You brought this on yourself.
I just hope nobody fact checks any of those statements, because you will be fucking done. You'll be taken to court for just peddling shit. You'll be known as the Shills. Thank you. That was an epic introduction. None of it was true, but I do appreciate the effort that you put into that one.
So, yeah, as the listener, if you haven't picked up from the last episode that we did with him on The Chronic, we're doing episodes based on fragrances that we've hyped up, and two of which we've hyped up. We're going to give you a little twofer today. We've hyped up Greenley and Ryan's favorite red tobacco. Yes. So Steve has been able to acquire a couple of samples of each. We're going to enjoy them together.
Yes, I think you should start with Greenley because I feel like it's a good one.
I love it.
Yeah, I think red tobacco because it's going to be polarizing, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've got it here, so I've not got much of each, but yeah, I got these from Fragrance Samples UK. Obviously, I'm in the UK, unlike you guys. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I've never smelled Greenley. My relationship with Parfum de Marly it's an interesting one. Obviously, Leighton is one of my favourites of all time. I love that fragrance. I enjoy a lot of PDM fragrances. Carlisle is brilliant. So I've never smelled this, so I'm looking forward to kind of smelling it. It's interesting because Parfum de Marly, I don't know how much you guys, what it's like there, but people kind of sit in two different camps with Parfum de Marly, because some people love them as a really good niche house, but a lot of people say that they're basically like designer fragrances in niche for niche prices, or they're like or niche versions. Yeah, they say they're like niche versions of designer fragrances, which I disagree as well. So
yeah, I definitely disagree.
So I've got a Parfum de Marly Greenley. Should I spray and smell? Should I
spray it up, y'all?
Just making sure. Oh god.
Did you do it on the skin there, Ryan?
Well, I'm running out of space.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. Okay. Just getting wafts of it.
Damn. I love this smell. Every time Mike walks around with this smell on, I'm like, dude, why have you not bought a bottle of this?
Has this not got a bit of green Irish tweed vibes?
See, we've never smelled green Irish tweed.
Yeah, we haven't.
Perhaps it's just the opening, because it's really fresh and zingy on the top.
Yeah, to me, it's like green apple, like just freshly sliced green apples.
Oh my God.
And then it dries down into like this sweet, almost what Leighton has at the bottom end of it.
See, I don't know if we're gonna get that far in there.
Yeah, ooh, baby.
It's definitely nice. There's no doubt about that.
Oh my God, it is so nice. I'm like melting over here.
It's already lost that real zingy green Irish tweed vibe sort of thing that I was getting right at the top. Yeah, it's coming across like a lot smoother now. It's my honest early impressions are.
Give us the truth.
I like it. I would happily wear it, but I don't think it's a game changer. I don't think it's amazing.
Cut the feed.
Yeah. You know what? Fuck Steve. He's gone.
I think this is one I probably need to wear. I need to do like a one night stand on this. I need to wear it, and
if you've got enough, just trust me on this. If you've got enough, find somebody to just spray it on and then let them walk past you a little bit after 30 minutes, and I promise you it changed my mind. I think we smelled it together, me and Mike did, on our first our episode of it originally. But then when Mike wore it separately and we went to town, and I was literally wearing a Giorgio Beverly Hills, some old school loud ass shit, and that's all I could smell was Greenley. I was like, dude, that was like the best smell. It smells so good to me.
It's super loud.
You don't think it would be, but it's freaking crazy loud.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem that loud on my...
It doesn't.
Test that I've done on my...
It's really tricky. You think it's not loud, but I promise you it is. That's what I was like, spray a spritz or two on somebody you know.
Yeah, I just wore it like you'd regularly spray, 3 to 5 sprays, something like that, sprayed it on me. And we were in the room, and we both walked out for something. Then Ryan walked back in by himself, and he was like, God, the whole fucking room smelled like Greenley.
It did. That's incredible.
It's funny, because it's definitely... I still get some of the sort of apple vibes that you said now, but it's definitely lost that zingy green Irish tweed opening that I got. Like there was a real, at the top it's like, oh, that's definitely sort of green Irish tweedish. I don't know if you've ever smelled Cool Water. That's like, people often say, like from Davidoff, that's like a poor man's green Irish tweed.
Is it? Okay.
They've got, I think it was the same perfumer actually that did it. They've got a lot of similarities, but I'm not going to sit here and say that they're like the same because people have ripped me apart. But but now it's settled. It's not as zingy. It's got a lot smoother. It's almost a bit sort of kind of a bit creamier. So I get that with that sweetness that you're talking about, maybe. Yeah. Because it's coming across as a bit smooth and creamy. So I have cheated slightly now and just looked up the notes. And what I would say is I should have picked this one out, but amberwood is in there, which does not surprise me at all.
I don't know anything about that.
I think it was Ashton at Gensense described it quite well once, because he said it's kind of like a really smooth, pleasant wood that's almost ambroxan-like. It's kind of got some similar vibes. It often adds this sort of smoothness to a fragrance.
Oh, okay.
And it's quite distinct. I've got what was the fragrance that was really heavy? Oh, Acqua di Gio, one of the flankers that's real prominent. I really got like loads
Profondo
of
or
no, it was Absolute. It was Acqua di Gio Absolute. I really noted the amberwood in that. That's kind of, and it's really pleasant. I really enjoyed Absolute. It didn't get much love from the community, but I really enjoyed it.
I think recently, Ryan and I were out shopping together, like we always do.
Yeah.
And we had stopped into Ulta. Didn't you? I thought you were spraying Absolute, and you were like, "Whoa, this is great."
Well, it was I think because you had made a suggestion or talked about it, the Armani Code Absolute.
No.
Wasn't it?
It was no.
That was the one I smelled though.
It was Acqua di Gio.
I could have swore. Maybe I did. I can't remember. We smelled so much over the holidays. I don't know.
That's true.
So Armani Code Absolute is a gold bottle. Mm-hmm. So quite a thin gold bottle. That's Armani Code. Acqua di Gio Absolute is like a sort of ambery kind of bottle.
Okay, yeah, I do remember it now. Yeah,
it was.
And it was good.
Yeah, it's quite a nice sort of fresher fragrance. It's really nice to wear in warmer weather. I really quite enjoyed that.
See, to me, the reason why I really like this Greenley is because, one, it's Texas and it's fucking hot, except for the last 2 days. But I mean, here it's about to be 68 degrees again here in the next day or two. So it's hot all the time. And this, to me, felt like a really great take on these summery, citrusy type fragrances. And the longevity and projection of it just blew my fucking mind.
Really?
Yes.
Because typically... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm enjoying it. The more it dries, the more I'm enjoying it, to be honest. And I don't know if it is because it's settling and it's, like I say, it's sweetening up a little bit and just getting a bit smoother.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does remind me of something. So now I'm just getting this sort of sweet, smooth woods with that something like that apple. It's definitely not as zingy. Like the opening was really quite...
kind of sharp, right?
Yeah, it was really quite sharp.
I'm going to say something. This is better than Leighton to me. Hands down, to me, this is better than Leighton.
I think for our application, yes. In Texas, I feel like this really goes hard. And the problem that we had with other fragrances was any sort of super citrus one didn't really perform well.
Yeah.
And this one seemed to perform really well. So around summertime, it was like, oh, hell yeah, we want this fragrance, you know?
This shit is sick.
I mean, when you say that this is better than Leighton, I mean, you're wrong, for starters, but... It is a good fragrance, and I can see why. Well-performing, like citrus, fresher fragrances that perform well are quite rare. Actually, that Absolute, Acqua di Gio Absolute, I used to get really good performance out of that. That used to last all day. So it might be worth you trying to get a sample and maybe wearing that all day and see what you think to it, to be honest.
I might try that.
Enjoy the little smell. Yeah, because it's not too expensive, and yeah, I used to get quite good performance out of that. It's one of those ones where you just get nice wafts of it throughout the day and it would last. At the end of the day, I could still smell it. It wasn't like projecting loads, but this is, as I say, this is a really nice fragrance. I'd happily wear it, no doubt. I think I need to give it a proper wear-in to see if it's sort of bottle-worthy, though, if it's worth a purchase.
The bottle is very sexy.
Very sexy. And huge.
Green is my favorite color, so yeah.
Well, it's green, but it's like, you know how the Sedley bottle is see-through? I think it's Sedley.
See-through, yeah.
Yeah, the Greenley one's the same way. It's kind of that clear tempered glass, but it's green. It's gorgeous.
Man, this is my favorite.
Yeah.
I can see that this definitely offers some versatility. You could easily wear this like in the office, no dramas at all, like on a warmer day. Like this is so clean and
yeah, if somebody didn't like this, they need to get a checkup. Shit's ridiculous.
It's good.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice fragrance, no doubt.
It's more herbal than I remember it being.
Really?
To me, it kind of smells like, now that, Steve, tell me if this happens to you. When you smell a certain fragrance, does it then sometimes unlock like new scents that you smell in older fragrances? Because I didn't smell this as being super herbal, but then I got Nichonet's Ombre Calabria. Have you smelled that one?
No.
Okay, well, that one's like, I would assume is super green, at least to me.
Yeah.
And has like a real, almost like a fresh cut grass in there type smell.
Yeah.
And like now that I've smelled that one, I smell hints of that in greener fragrances now that I didn't before. It's kind of a trip. Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah, totally. I mean, we've discussed this before where you said that you can't pick out notes and things, but the more fragrances you smell, you then start getting reference points. So you remember if a fragrance is really heavy in vetiver and that's like a really strong, like for example, the next time you smell a fragrance, it might not be as strong in vetiver, but you'll be like, oh, I kind of recognize that and I sort of smell that. And it does sort of kind of break it down a little bit. And actually it was, again, to keep mentioning it, but the Acqua di Gio Absolute that really sort of unlocked the amberwood kind of smell and what that sort of smells like to me, because I kind of really, it was quite a distinct smell in that I wasn't that familiar with. And when I realized it, a lot of people saying that it was very heavy in amberwood, it's very sort of prominent or whatever, that kind of, so now that's kind of my reference sort of to that. So it definitely does happen. The thing is, what's nice about this is I often find with apple accords, they can come across as really synthetic.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you smell like apple can be really synthetic, like more so than like bergamot, mandarin, orange. They can be or not to that much detriment. So like I'm just trying to think of some other fragrances, but for me this is like Clinique Happy, for example, is really heavy in mandarin, which I really enjoy. It's quite a synthetic fragrance, but I still enjoy it. Where actually other fragrances that I've smelled that are quite apples, quite synthetic, like a fragrance that Gallagher do that's got they smell like apple sours to me. That's all I can kind of get. It's I don't know if you got that drink there, the apple sours drink that's like really shorts, like
yeah, we have
a shot of apple sours. Yeah,
not
and that's just it's just horrible. That's all I could get was that apple sours. It was really to me personally, it was really synthetic apple that was just really like, ugh, it's horrible. But this isn't.
What's that green apple alcohol? God, what was that called?
God, I'm trying to think.
God, I thought it maybe started with an S or something like that. I remember me and my friend, funny enough, his name was Ryan as well. We got a hold of that, some of that. We got a hold of that in like middle school and got drunk off of this green apple something.
That's probably Mad Dog 2020 or something. Or Boone's Farm or something.
I'm fucking street.
See, ours it's probably a similar thing. It might be rebranded, but here it's called Sours and it's got a Z on the end. It's SOURZ, like apple sours. And it's like is a shot. So it's a shot you just have like, and that's just proper synthetic syrupy apple, but you just used to drink it to get pissed. And it was Gallagher's Fine Apple. Gallagher Fragrances Fine Apple that I smell. I did a YouTube video and that's all I could get. I could not get over the apple sour smell. A lot of people love that fragrance and fair play, each to their own, but I could not get over it. It just smelled like apple sours and I did not want to smell like that. It's really synthetic, where the apple in this is a really nice apple. It's not too synthetic. It smells quite natural. It's not too over the top. It's not like too all-encompassing apple. And it's not a synthetic apple either. It's just a nice hint of apple to me with that sort of smoother, kind of like I say, amberwood kind of vibe going on. So yeah, it's a very, very pleasant fragrance. I think I definitely need to wear it before I decide if I want to get a bottle there.
Well, who do you think's wearing something like this?
Somebody that hasn't tried Leighton yet.
Oh, I've tried it. I love Leighton. That shit's good.
To be honest, I don't know. I guess because of its niche, the price tag, again, it's probably somebody that's, again, sort of got their shit together. They can obviously afford to buy niche fragrances. They're kind of into it maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Could easily be a sort of signature scent throughout the summer and the warmer months, or if you're in a warmer climate.
I want this to be me.
Yeah,
Keep talking.
I'm like pointing at my
shit together. Signature scent can totally just wear. Apple Pucker was the name of it. You remember that? Apple Pucker?
Yes.
Okay.
By the way, yes, I feel like this is something in your wheelhouse more than mine, unfortunately, because I do love it, but I feel like it fits you when you wear it.
I'm probably unfairly obsessed with it. Maybe I've overhyped it to you, Steve. I'm sorry. But for some reason, this is one that is like top of the list for me, and I absolutely fucking love. And I'm always shocked when it doesn't get as much hype online.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, though.
It didn't, did it? I think on the whole, most people were probably similar to me, where they liked it. They said it's perfectly nice, but it didn't, it didn't blow them them away, or it didn't sort of become their favourite Parfum de Marly fragrance out of nowhere. They sort of just said it was a very solid release, I think, was the general consensus. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just said it was very... Because I know there was a bit of drama around the name. It was originally called something else, wasn't it? And then it was somebody... I think it was like Bond Number 9 or something. I've got like a fragrance that had the same name, or there was another fragrance house that had a name that was too similar to it. So they actually had to do a recall.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so the name isn't on the bottle, but they had to recall for the packaging and rebrand the packaging with a different name on the box.
Wow.
Because a few people that got sent some bottles, like Brooklyn Fragrance Lover, Carlos, and Stephen Red Essence, they got their bottles and got their videos out like fucking ASAP, within minutes of release. Yeah. And then they actually had to take the videos down because presumably they got their bottles sent to them for free.
Oh, yeah.
So probably Parfum de Marly went, no, we need to recall. You have to. So they then redid it, and they didn't even reference it. It's like it never happened. It was like they never mentioned the fact that I'm doing this video again because there's a recall. They literally just took the video down and redid another video with a different name. I can't remember what it was originally called. You'll definitely find it online, but it was released, and so they had to change the boxes. Fortunately, the bottles, there's no name on the bottles, so they didn't have to do that.
That's smart. That makes sense now. Probably why they don't put...
They're like, the bottle's green, just call it Greenley.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Fucking PR team's high-fiving in the background.
It was a bit like that. It was like, that's a bit lame.
A little on the nose.
Mandarin fragrance. It's orangey. Let's Parfum de Marly orangey.
Would you like this orangely?
Okay, skip it.
Sample it.
Or buy it. I would definitely recommend a sample to everybody, and I think what I'm going to do personally is sample it. Obviously, I've got my sample. I need to give this a wear in and see how it performs, and I want to see what it's like when you just get wafts of it, wearing it throughout the day. If it's got the performance that you guys say it has, I can imagine that you're going to be sort of doing your work, whatever, and you'll get wafts of it throughout the day. I want to get that, I want to experience it and see how it performs. If it performs really well, if as well as you guys say, and it's a clean, fresh fragrance that performs that well, I'll definitely be interested in potentially getting a bottle.
I know for me, I can't afford it, but it's a buy for me. I wish I could buy it right now, but I can't. But this is definitely, I've talked about it since season 1, since the first time we ever smelled it. I'm obsessed with the fragrance just as much as Myke is, but I feel like it fits you more than me. But I mean, it's a badass fragrance, and I really would like to buy it one day.
The one thing I do love about PDM is that they offer the 75 ml bottles as well, and they're typically cheaper.
Yeah.
So you can normally find those for like $140 or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Like at discounters.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's getting a smaller bottle, it costs more per mil, but then it depends really. So if you've got a large collection where you're not going to get through a whole bottle, then you don't need to be getting 125 mil. So you might as well get the smaller 75 mil bottles. I mean,
yeah, for me, this is going to be the 125 mil bottle.
I'm a bit surprised how much you guys love it though, because to me it's really nice, but it's quite, I mean, I keep going on about I don't like complex, but this is very simple. It's a very straightforward fragrance to
I don't
me.
feel like it's simple. It's fucking amazing. That's crazy.
Wow, it's funny. I don't get that hype. I think it's really nice. I happily wear it, but I don't get it. I need to definitely wear it and see if I can come around to your chain of thought.
All right.
Well, let's jump in to the next one, which if he's kind of on the fence about that one, I feel like this one's going to be a clusterfuck to him.
Watch him fucking love it.
Yeah, he'll be freaking dancing on with his drawers down or something. We'll see. All right.
I'm going to be real.
Right,
I'm not spraying this one on my skin.
I'm not going to spray it on mine either. It's stout. But
well, I am. So obviously I've got Mancera's Red Tobacco here. So this was more your sort of hype train, wasn't it, Ryan?
Yes. And I mean, and Mike's been witness to it too many damn times. You ought to be ashamed for not thinking this shit's good. But I get compliments every time I wear it. Every time I wear it, I literally get people that like grab me by the shoulder and say, "Hey, what are you wearing?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Red Tobacco."
Well, I'm going to quote the world fragrance leader. Is that what he's going by now? Mr. Smelly? He says, real men don't need compliments, Ryan.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. Right. I'm spraying it on my hand.
All right, there you go.
Okay. I suspect I might be more excited about this one. Oh, fuck. Oh, wow. Ooh,
she's strong.
That's there, isn't it?
Yeah, I told you.
Ooh.
This one has got what we call meaty clackers to it.
Oh man, this is. You know, I said this gets compared to Hafiz 1984.
Yeah.
By Alexandria.
It also gets compared to Carlisle, right?
Possibly, yeah. I've smelt Carlisle, but I don't own it, so I'm not as familiar with it. Where Hafis 1984 from Alexandra, I absolutely love. And that's I think most people in the US know Alexandra as well, because that's where they're sort of originally based. That's an original creation. Where this, to me, is Hafis 1984 with the sweetness dialed down and the booze dialed up. That's what this smells like to me.
To me, this shit doesn't get good for 30 minutes.
He hates it. It's like making him nauseous right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the opening has got this weird dryness to it. It's like this really weird...
I don't smell it as much. Well, actually, I do smell it. But when you smell this, have you ever opened up like a bottle of your vitamins and like they have that weird smell? Like I feel like the opening smells like a thing of vitamins to me.
I think you need to... Across the pond, I believe they're called vitamins.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. But I know what you mean. It's that kind of like medicinal smell.
Yeah.
I get that. I think it's partly from the alcohol.
It is rough up top. I'll never pretend like it's not.
Yeah, the opening has got... It's really strong alcohol in the opening, and then it gets this weird medicinal powdery vibe.
Yeah. For me, it's brutal for a little while, but it dries down pretty fucking sexy. I'm not going to lie.
It does.
Clinical. I really want you to smell Hafis 1984 now, because I think that smells better than this, but then I'm only smelling the opening.
Well, we don't have to get a thing of that.
Yeah.
I think you need to. You need to get on it.
We have sampled at least 4 Alexandrias, and they haven't disappointed.
On the whole, they're pretty good. As with most sort of clone houses, it can be hit and miss, but most of the ones I think are really good. But Hafis 1984 is an original creation. But yeah, the up top, I got this real strong alcohol, which is sort of dissipated a little bit now, but then it's leaving this sort of powdery... medicinal kind of thing. Does it get sweeter?
Yes, it does.
Does it get as much?
Yeah.
Because it's lacking some sweetness to me right now. I feel like it needs something to counterbalance that.
No, it does get sweeter. It really does take about 30 minutes for the harshness of that top opening to like really settle down. But then once it does, you're like in golden hour with this thing.
For me, it's like sweeter and boozier as it chills out a little bit.
See, I got the booze at the top really quite strong.
And I'll tell you how loud it is. Which we see for the audience, you're not going to see, but we're seeing because we're doing this via video. But I sprayed on my hand just like you did.
And he could smell it through the computer.
No, but I sprayed it on my hand just like you did. And when I went to the store literally hours later, I had a lady literally lose her mind like 10, 15 away from me, 15 feet, and was just like, who smells good? And then she sniffed it out. And it was just on my hand, down by my side. It's loud as fuck.
Yeah, that's a wild
It's definitely, on my skin right now, it's just a bit too dry. It needs to sweeten up because it's just coming across as a bit medicinal and dry, and it needs something in the base to kind of come through and give it a bit of, like, something a bit more resinous or a bit sweeter maybe.
My guess is in about 30 minutes, you'll probably love it.
I think so too.
So should we just chat for a bit? Yeah.
So how's the weather out there?
I need to take a piss. So.
Oh man, I really want you now, Ryan, to smell Hafis 1984. Don't make me send another £15.
Yeah, tell your peeps over at Alexandria to hook us up. We'll gladly.
I'll see if I can at least get you a discount or something, hopefully. But yeah, it's with Hafis 1984. It's very similar to this. I'd say it's probably strong. I mean, I'm getting the top notes. I'm like you say, I need to let this settle and sweeten up more. But Alexandria is definitely sweeter. Probably not quite as boozy, but the tobacco is definitely more noticeable. But it's equally as strong. It's quite strong. And I've had compliments on Hafis 1984. I went to the sort of corner shop to buy some like bread and milk or whatever. Yeah. And I totally wasn't expecting it at all. And just the girl that served me, this is before COVID, so before wearing masks and shit, she was just kind of like, oh, you smelling... I think she said, oh, you smell amazing. What are you wearing? And then when you're like a frag head, you're like, how much detail do I go into? Because it's like, it was... Do you know what I mean? Because it's not like you can go, oh, it's Dior Sauvage or whatever, and they just know like it's a, it's Chanel or whatever. So I was just like, oh, it's... I think I did tell her, I was like, oh, it's Hafis 1984 by Alexandria Fragrances. She just looked at me like, huh?
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you don't care. But yeah, I need you to smell that now.
Yeah, that's always one that I debate going into. Or do I just lie and say, oh, it's Polo?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, oh, it's Polo.
I made the mistake once like he did. Like I had two ladies ask me, I was actually wearing Cedric Boise by Mancera, and they're like, oh my God, you smell amazing. Of course, they're country out here. Yeah. And they're like, what are you wearing? I'm like, well, it's called Mancera Cedric Boise. And they're like, cool. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So it's not Christian Dior. It's not like Chanel. It's not,
Yeah, no, if you could be like Aspen or something.
Yeah, they'd fucking lose it.
This, out of the two, I prefer Greenley currently.
Damn,
this might change.
I was right. I thought he would.
So you suck
because
it, Ryan.
this right now is just a bit dry, a bit medicinal, and a bit thin. It needs something else in there. Like, I'm sure it's going to change in the dry down, and it's going to get sweeter. Perhaps the tobacco will get stronger or whatever. But it's just a bit medicinal. It's got this weird sort of green herbiness to it as well.
Have you smelled Triumph of Bacchus by Argos?
No. Oh no, I think I've got a sample set from them somewhere.
Oh my God.
Which I've not yet opened. I need to try.
See, to me, a lot of people compare the dry down of this to that fragrance. And that one, I feel like it does a little bit better than this, but they're very similar.
It does it a lot better, honestly. And funny enough, this came out before Triumph of Bacchus.
Yeah.
But I feel like whatever they done with it, like opening to close on that fragrance, it's like incredible.
Yeah, I do love that one. So every time Ryan hits me with, oh man, I don't know why you don't love red tobacco, I'm always like, I feel like there's something out there that does it better. Now the price,
and for me, it's Hafest 1984.
Yeah, I need to get on that one. I'll probably end up liking it better. I do smell the dryness you're kind of talking about in this.
I sometimes wonder if it's my skin, because Cedrat Boise or Boise or however you're supposed to pronounce it, that
Ryan says
obviously it gets hyped so much, but on my skin it came across as really dry, like really, really dry. I just couldn't get over how dry it was. It was like I remember doing a video on YouTube and I used the word dry like a million times. It's just like, it's got its opening, but then it was, I'm saying it now, it was really dry on my skin. I couldn't get over that. So I didn't enjoy Cedrat Boise that much, to be honest.
It was a little smoky on me.
Perhaps it's a Mancera thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
maybe
it's just
so.
a very dry woodiness for me. But.
You loved that one too. And seriously, he's gone through nearly an entire bottle of Cedrat Boise.
It's pretty much gone, yeah.
And I still have, it's 120 mil, I think I have 115 mil left. And I gave you like a 5 mil for the road. So
yeah, you bought it. You bought it before me, and I was like, man. And I had to smell it. And when I did, I was like, oh, man, this shit's so good.
It's good, but again, it's stuff like that to where that smells great. But God, I'd rather smell Greenley on me, which is that citrusy, but it's got a sweetness to it, and less of the woody, smoky sort of a thing.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm not vibing with this red tobacco currently. In comparing it, Greenley is gone up in, like, going back to Greenley. It's like, that's nice now. Like,
there you go.
Who do you think is wearing this one?
Fat loser.
Thanks.
I mean, I really struggle with this fragrance. So I'm struggling to kind of like.
I'm feeling great right now.
I'm really not vibing with this. I've got to say,
it was the best $80 on TJ Maxx I ever spent in my entire life. I get compliments all the time. That's all that matters.
He really does.
It does vary. I think it does vary on skin chemistry, though. I think it is one of those things that some fragrances can just work with you and some less so. Like I say, the Cedrat Boise is really dry, but there's other fragrances that just, like, I've said it before, but I think Mont Blanc Explorer seems to really work on me. I know it's a very safe DNA coming from that Aventa style.
Right.
But I get ridiculous compliments on it. It's like, it's not just people going, oh, you smell nice. They kind of really go out of their way to be like, oh my God, I need to get that for my son. Oh, I need to come and sit next to you. You smell like amazing. It's not just a compliment, it's next level. So I think some things just seem to work with you.
Yeah, I think for me, it's probably because I'm a big burly man. And so it's got some clackers to it. It's associated with that.
They expect you to smell like beef and sweat. But they're like, oh, he doesn't smell that bad.
It smells amazing.
I'm wondering too, Steve, if the proximity of you smelling it so close, because it is such a concentrated fragrance, that people that aren't like right up on you will smell it and appreciate it, because that's typically what happens.
Yeah.
I think you might have a valid point there. We were discussing this on the last episode of my podcast with regards to like Sauvage Elixir. It's got that real aniseedy type thing going on. And it's just all too much, actually. But so when I smelt it, I just kept smelling it up close on skin, and loads of people are saying, no, you need to get wafts of it in the air, and that's when it's not as strong, so it's just a lot smoother and it's not as intense and it smells a lot nicer. So that may well be the case with this fragrance as well.
I will agree with that, because Myke had bought a bottle of that. As much as we hate Sauvage, he bought a bottle of Elixir for the show, honestly.
Yeah.
But he bought a bottle of that, and man, he had put it up and put it behind him, like cap on in the box, put it like 4 feet
across the room.
Yeah, and we're just like the entire time we couldn't even smell what we were trying to smell for another episode because all we could smell was what was coming from the box. That one is really, really loud, but I really liked it. It smelled amazing.
Yeah, it's probably the only Sauvage that I did care for.
Same.
Yeah, I need to revisit it. I think I've sort of wrote it off because I just kept smelling it up close and I just didn't like that sort of
super dry
aniseedy thing. So yeah, I need to kind of revisit that. I think a little bit, but sometimes that does happen with fragrances. You kind of have to. I did that with actually even Jeremy Fragrances Office for Men. Again, I kind of smelt it and I was a bit really underwhelmed initially, but then once I actually kind of wore it and got some wafts of it, it's a perfectly pleasant fragrance. There's nothing actually wrong with it, but so yeah, I think that's probably a fair shout. Definitely.
This one you get really close to it and it's overwhelming, but I will say Ryan wears it a ton and it does smell good on him, but I think I don't like wearing it because I get too close to it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to smell it that close, but coming from somebody else, it's not bad.
Okay.
Skip it.
Sample it.
Buy it.
What are you going to do, Steve?
Unless it changes on the dry down, it's a hard skip for me.
Damn.
Yes, sir.
I knew these motherfuckers were cahooting behind the scenes like, hey, man, take a giant shit on fucking
I just feel like it might improve. So I'd need to see what the dry down is. But currently, right now, whatever we're in, 10 minutes into smelling it or whatever, there's other fragrances that I think are like this that do it better.
For sure.
It's not vibing with me.
Have you ever?
I'm not saying it's bad, to be fair, but I would skip it. I don't need to sample this.
Have you smelled 2.6 Elixir?
No, I haven't.
It's Cam, Carolina Fragrance Reviews, the YouTuber. It's his release, and to me, it's fucking awesome. I love it.
It's so funny because we're kind of like the behind the scenes. We don't really talk about much, but we're kind of anti all these YouTubers coming out with 1 million fragrances all the time, especially ones that are like dropping 10 at a time kind of deal.
Yeah.
But we were really impressed. We were impressed with Smolder. That was a good one because it was kind of like a concentrated, focused, let's make a fragrance. And the same thing with Cam's. We were thinking it was probably going to, me personally, I was like, it's probably going to be bad. But then I feel like we were both really shocked. It's actually good to us. It's good.
It's one of my favorite fragrances that I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
I was really blown away.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
what sort of style is it?
It's fairly priced too, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's to me it does have kind of a dryness to it. It's got like an earthiness to it, but it is very like almost like syrupy sweet tobacco.
Yeah.
And like a hint of like booziness and like this earthiness to it as well. It's a really neat fragrance. And it is, when everybody talked about it, I was like, this is going to smell like 1 million fragrances I've already smelled. And to me, I was like, whenever I smelled it, I was like, nope, can't say that this is like a take on 1 million other ones.
Yeah, unless there's something we just haven't covered yet. I haven't smelled anything like it either. It smells really good.
Yeah. So it's a good one. And he just had a deal for Christmas where if you bought a bottle, 50 ml bottle, he sent another 50 ml bottle for free.
Oh, wow.
And so
is he shipping outside of the US?
I don't know.
Yes, he is. But you have to pay additional shipping. So you'd have to cover the shipping of it. But I'm happy just to send a few mil to you for you to check out. But it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
And what I will say, Ryan, is it's not as dry now. It is getting better. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's lost that dry medicinal vibe now. It's
yeah, that's the part that goes away, which thank God, because when you first spray it, I was like, oh God, no. But what happened was we were at a store and we sprayed it on a card.
Yeah,
we were like, oh God, this sucks. But when we left, we kept all of the cards, we wrote which ones it was. And the whole way home, we just kept smelling that one going, fuck, this is good. So
that's funny. It definitely 100% smells better now. It's weird. I'm not just saying it. It's not. It's lost that dry medicinal vibe now.
Yeah.
It's still. I think perhaps it's because I'm used to Hafis 94 being sweeter. For me, I feel like it could do being a little bit sweeter still, but it's a lot more balanced now. So it's lost that dry medicinal vibe, and it's not quite as thin. It's just coming through a little bit, sort of, with a bit more depth now.
It's nice.
So yeah,
I love
interesting. I'm curious to see how that one changes.
Yeah, I'm curious to see too if you wear it and then go around your wife and see if she says something like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
once we finish this, when I go back inside, if she's still up, I'll get her to smell both on my hand as they are now, and I'll let you know which one she preferred, if at all. It's quite hard to get any sort of reaction from her because typically it's very rare. She'll often just go, yeah, it's all right, or oh, it smells like another one that you've got. So that's normally her go-to kind of reaction.
She's trying to keep you from buying another one.
Yeah. Or if it's anything mildly resembling a fougere, she just says it smells like her dad. So like those are the sort of three. So if I do get a reaction from her where she goes, oh, that's nice, I know, oh, bloody hell, this must be half decent, to be fair. So we shall see.
Steve, yet again, thank you for joining us on this episode. It was great.
Can I just say, who's got the best, most hyped fragrance? I think I've won this. Come on. I think I've won this with the Chronic.
Oh, yeah. So who wins for the hype? The hype award is going to have to be you, for sure.
Yes. Ryan looks pissed. Ryan looks pissed off.
Well, I would say it is, for me, personally, I think it's between both y'all. I really do love Greenley, but I've smelled it so much it's hard to like push a vote in for it. But smelling the Chronic for the first time, I have to say it's a pretty badass fragrance. And honestly, I'm shocked. I didn't think it was going to be the way it was.
Yeah,
I mean, I've got to say, I'm pleasantly surprised. I didn't think you would both like it as much as you did. I thought one of you might. I wasn't sure you would, Ryan, because I know the sweet thing is not always your bag. So
it's definitely
really
not.
Pleased.
It does that gum thing differently. Like, I feel like if I smell Ultramol or whatever you want to call it, I cannot stand how sweet that is. But this, again, especially the opening part of it, it's like popping a brand new spearmint gum. So it's like, I don't know, it just smells badass to me.
There's something in there. Yeah. Again, to the listeners, it doesn't smell like mint gum, by the way.
No.
But yeah, for me, because I really do like, and if you haven't tried it, I'm curious what you'd think of that Gentle Fluidity Gold by MFK. But I've already gone through 10 mil of that and was going to re-up on another one.
Yeah.
But I honestly think this is more masculine take on it. And they're two different creatures for sure. I'm not saying they're the same thing, but there's similarities in that I really like to this, but this is in a different direction and I think more unique direction. So I prefer it.
Yeah, it's badass. So thank you again for bringing it on and sending it to us again.
No worries, guys. Thank you for having me on. It's been fun.
Okay. Well, until next time, spray it up, y'all.
Spray it up, yo.